If you, like me, are a millennial who has even remotely experienced the trends of Hindi cinema, you have definitely felt the era of Hrithik Roshan's stardom in the air. The younger generation might just know him for his suave, Greek god-like looks, as a rare superstar who moves and acts like it's no one's business. But for us, he was a rare diamond who took accountability for being born into the legacy of Bollywood, accountability of the pedestal the audience put him on, using the platform to inspire change, uplift fellow colleagues, graciously accepts competition, embracing the struggles he has had to overcome to be what he is today. His training montages too concentrate on the pain first and the gains later. His personal brand HRX is dedicated to propagate fitness among his audiences. I recall in an interview with Anupama Chopra right after the release of Fighter, Hrithik spoke about his experience with smoking for just a few days and how it affected something as clinical and as resting heart rate. Basically, someone who is ready to show the cracks behind the luxurious exterior, devoid of the usual vanity of stardom. When he speaks about issues, you realize the heart behind conveying such important information, a genuine interest to inform his beloved audiences. Unfortunately, we now live in times infested with people whose only purpose in life is to bring down others at the times of crisis. We saw that with Shah Rukh, and now with the fate of War 2, and the underperformance of Vikram Vedha and Fighter, despite mostly positive critical reception of both the films, we unfortunately can see Hrithik facing the same. But the point is, apart from War 2, all his other box office failures since War, in fact throughout his career, are cases where we as audiences failed him. His choices couldn't have been better. No doubt we would love to see him more often on screen. But the fact is, the amount of conviction and dedication to the craft that's required to bring out the performances that we love needs time. Shutting out all the noise, I wish he takes 2, 3 or even if required 4 years to build something spectacular, deserving of his talent and then release it, but with multiple releases scheduled together. And I'm not just saying this because the golden comeback of our beloved Badshah of Bollywood was crafted along similar lines. It's because this is what has always worked for Hrithik. 2 years after Laksh, both Krish and Dhoom 2 released in 2006. Similar genre films where his characters could not have been more different. He took 2 years after Bang Bang to concentrate completely on 2 other films. One was Kabir, whose credibility alone was enough to offset the dud that the other film Mohenjo-daro was, both releasing within just 6 months of each other. And then again, 2 years later, he bounced back with Super 30 and War, both big hits that cemented his position as a megastar. He always took his time, but came back with polar opposite performances in close quarters. And this is what I wish to see from him now. I love the reports that are doing rounds of his collaboration with Humbale for a film in the fantasy genre. But I also do wish he has another film of a completely different genre releasing in close quarters with the Humbale film. See a film like Kabir or Sadma or Mahanadi, with a modern filmmaker like Hemant M. Rao, or maybe a reunion with Sanjay Leela Bhansali. For example, a revival of the shelved film Inshallah, something that quenches his thirst for artistic liberty so that he can absolutely explode on screen with the action-packed Humbale film. Here's a quick recap of some of his most defining performances. These are not necessarily in order of his best films, but best performances. For example, here, his performance in Vikram Vedha would rank slightly higher than his performance in Laksh, even though Laksh is a far superior film. In fact, it's my favorite film of Hrithik Roshan's. So without further delay, let's begin. Both Zoya Akhtar's Lag By Chance and Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara captured his versatility even in roles that he could have pulled off in his sleep. Fighter is undoubtedly his most criminally underrated film and performance with subtle nuances that perfectly match up to the high-octane action set pieces. In both Guzarish and Super 30, Hrithik embodies trials and tribulations of rooted human characters, absolutely devoid of any vanity, and gives some of his most heartbreaking and spellbinding moments of his career. In Agnipath, he absolutely owns every frame he's in, despite the towering presence of Sanjay Dutt, shining especially in the film's more emotionally charged sequences. Talking about Kabir in the 2019 release War, I remember watching D-Day during my college days and thinking, what if Hrithik Roshan could play something on the similar lines as Arjun Rampal in D-Day? Hrithik being an actor known for very powerful, emotionally charged performances in a clinical yet dynamic role. And then Siddharth Anand gave us War. This is a role he could have pulled off along the similar lines as Bang Bang. But the way Hrithik chose to reinvent his style within the constructs of his own action hero image knocked it out of the park. With Kabir, Hrithik probably covered all the bases as an actor. Quite frankly, even today, if he goes ahead and portrays a character even more challenging than Kabir, we won't be surprised because of how good he can portray such characters. The depths he uncovered in Kabir truly brought out the finest sides to him as an actor. In Laksh, an early career Hrithik Roshan gave such a full-bodied performance that even today, that's a performance that can be taught in acting schools. A good-for-nothing guy turned army officer. A lover boy coming to terms with his ex's present life. A son trying to navigate a strained relationship with his father. Not only did Farhan give his best to this ambitious film, he also gave Hrithik a role of a lifetime. And Hrithik, like always, performed it like he was born for it. As Rohit Mehra, across all the three films, Hrithik gave us the most iconic character of his career apart from Krish. The fact that he was able to portray three different versions of the same character across different films, leaving equally strong impact despite the towering presence of his own formidable performance as Krish, without ever letting the performance as Rohit Mehra slip into caricature, is one of the many reasons why this performance will be remembered for decades to come. As Krish, despite having faced life-threatening circumstances due to malfunction in stunts, his resilience and composed control over his own craft was in full display, giving us one of the most iconic portrayals of a superhero in Indian cinema. As Vedha, Hrithik was insane. Evil with a pinch of humanity seemed to be his one-take note from the director Pushkar Gayatri, and he pounced at the opportunity like a hungry tiger, fresh off the success of War, giving us one of the most brutal yet spectacular performances of modern times. Finally, moving on to my favorite performance of Hrithik Roshan, Yodha Akbar. While the portrayal of warriors and kings is generally painted in broad strokes, Hrithik crafted something marvelously restrained, but the impact couldn't have been more majestic. The way he used his eyes alone, working on the diction of the era, coupled with his magnificent chemistry with Aishwarya, was a sight to behold. It's not a performance, it's an experience. Hrithik is a rare talent who perfectly balances submission to character with how the performance would be captured by the camera. He just needs the right director to balance it out. Never on the Indian screens had we witnessed a star who looked, moved and acted with this amount of jaw-dropping impact. That too with three polar opposite releases in his debut year itself. A true blue industry insider who never took the opportunity and privilege for granted. His 25th year in the industry was unfortunately marred by a film that's undeserving of his talent and commitment. But a failure like this truly can do no harm to the legacy this actor has carved for himself and the respect he has earned from us as audiences. Can't wait to see what he unleashes on screen, but if he does intend to take his own sweet time, I wish he comes back with multiple projects, irrespective of how long it takes. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. The handle is USKMM6. The links are in the description below as well. Like and share this video, and if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do it right away. See you soon.